So the three that I came up with that jump out to me are defensive line, offensive tackle, and linebacker.
How come you were specific on the offensive line but not specific on the defensive line?
Because I'm really curious to see how this defensive line shakes out now with the return of Gallimore and then Gregory, and then see what happens with Micah Parsons. Because it could turn out that they find the formula that works just fine. Whereas on the offensive line, I feel like tackle is the spot that you specifically go for.
Right.
Whereas defensive tackle makes a lot of sense, but I kind of want to see how the new configuration of the healthy offensive or defensive line works first.
Corey, would you like to give your in order was what, Kevin?
I mean, I think if that was the case, I would probably say offensive tackle, linebacker, and defensive line.
All right. What's your list here? In order.
In order, defensive end, linebacker, tackle. Tackle's very important for the future. I'm hopeful that you can kind of develop somebody. Maybe Terrence Steele can continue to grow into that spot, but I think you have questions on both sides at tackle because reliability for Lyle Collins is just a factor that you have to weigh in, and if you don't, you're an idiot. And on the left side, you just have to factor in that you're going to be missing Tyron Smith a little bit just because his body's wear and tear. But defensive end for me, now this obviously weighs on a lot of different things too. Whether or not Dan Quinn's still with this team. If Dan Quinn's still with this team, then I don't think he's going to move Micah Parsons to just be a defensive end. I don't think he's going to say, you know what, you're an edge rusher now. I think he's going to say, hey, how many places can I put you on the field to make you my queen in chess, where I can just put you somewhere and you can make plays happen. But I would like to see advancement either at Randy Gregory or DeMarcus Lawrence to say, I have a younger, better option there later.
I agree with you guys in the three positions you've picked.
Wow, that is remarkable.
So I just had in order offensive line, linebacker, defensive end. And I think that we're all in the same category here of the three weakest positions. Now, before we go further than that, I think this is interesting. And look, mock drafts, there's a zillion of them. As we get closer, you get a better idea on who's going to be there. I think we're going to pick somewhere between 22 and 32. That's fair to say, right? I mean, that's probably where we're going to pick. Hopefully 32 and not 22. But when I look at the mock draft that I'm looking at the bottom of the draft of the first round, you have 4 wide receivers and 4 cornerbacks. So it doesn't mean that's the way it's going to play out, but it looks like the back half of the first round, if you had to have a guess right now, is going to be cornerback and wide receiver heavy, with there being, because there's 11 picks there, 22 through 32, is they have 1 edge rusher and 2 offensive tackles. So there is in our deal of what we want, you might either be reaching, one of these guys might fall into your lap, or you might be sitting there going, man, this is a heavy cornerback wide receiver draft at the back end of the first round.
An offensive tackle is getting a whole bunch of play on the fan text, but I have seen multiple people fall in line with that from the 214. You can't ignore the fact that we need a new corner from another 214 corner. And
okay, you just re-signed Jordan Lewis, and Anthony Brown has another year left on his contract.
And you took second and third round.
Kelvin Joseph and Nashawn Wright. So they got to give them an opportunity to grow.
I get that, like, the Thanksgiving game was off. I mean, Dan Quinn said he had a lot of faith in Kelvin Joseph, and we already talked about Nashawn Wright scored a touchdown. Yeah. I get that the Thanksgiving game worked out poorly for Anthony Brown. But before that, didn't we feel like he had been playing really well? Jordan Lewis came up with a couple of huge pass breakups to just take that game out of position against Atlanta, and we felt good about Trayvon Diggs for all the ups and downs that he brings. Like, I actually feel fine, especially when you factor in just using a second and third round pick on Wright and Joseph. I feel okay with the cornerbacks. Like, I see that what the people are saying. I'm just saying, like, I guess I feel okay with that compared to the other three.
Regarding the linebacker spot, this also again has to deal with whether or not, because I think that's important considering what we just got in Micah Parsons. I think it's important again if Dan Quinn's the guy, because he has a feeling that Keanu Neal can play this. I don't know if he continues to feel that, but what does he think about Jabril Cox? And does he think that duo is going to be that's the combination that I'm going to work with, or we need to find somebody else? Because I think Jabril Cox can be that guy. It's just he's injured now, and now that's going to set him back, and you're very sparse at the position.